Good morning, everybody. It's Kula Dula from RawStocks. We have another edition of our pre-market prep. Are you able to understand where price action is going to go for the day? How do we predict that every single day with precision? Stay tuned and we'll get right into it. All right, guys. So today, yesterday we had a little bit of a close that came below, virtually almost equal to to the previous day's close on Friday. What's to happen now? We love our daily four here. That's going to indicate a potential sign of weakness when we close underneath it. Well, now we've got 2 consecutive days underneath. Will we get a follow through? That's what we're going to cover today. Okay, so important levels for you to monitor is going to be 64.55, 64.49, 64.41, and 64.37. Okay, these are all levels of yesterday and Friday's low. Okay, so if we start breaking through Friday's low, we know that we're breaking down from last week's virtual close, right? So our close is right here, but we're looking at the low that day, and that's going to really show us some signs of weakness. But we got to give our shout outs to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and GammaEdge. Without those guys, we'd not be able to provide this to you every single day. So make sure you guys are supporting them by using the links in our bio to get the access to the data that we use to decipher the markets. Okay, so let's pull it up. Here it is. Got too many tabs open, man. All right, so let's pull it up right here. SPX. We have a call-dominated gamma condition this morning. It looks like a potential couple legs of maybe an iron condor here, looking to hold us in 64.65 down to 64.35. So it's almost like we're range bound from yesterday. Okay, so what that means is let's look at our day trading chart. If I know where that's at, there we go. Okay, so let's turn these off and let's build our range for the day. Okay, so based on what we're seeing here, 64.65 is going to be the high of the day, right? 64.65 going to be the high. Well, let's keep this whole range in here. 64.65. Let's go to 15-minute. Let's bring this down to our gamma wall right here, 64.65. And or 64.60, my bad. 64.60, I need to adjust that. And down to 64.35. All right, so let's adjust this one more time. My bad. All right, 64.60. Our gamma walls here. Our positive support is going to be at 55. So that is going to be here. It's our positive gamma support. And then our breakdowns at 50. So it looks like we might start at weakness. I need to go look at it, but we might open at weakness. We'll kind of see how it goes. Which is always interesting when you open with weakness. It's always interesting. All right, and 64.35 is going to be our demand. So we'll leave that right where it's at. Okay, so what this means is as we progressively get higher in this range here, right? So a lot of people will look at this as a wedge here, right? Starting to see some type of wedge or pennant, however you want to look at this one. That's and all that may be fine. Okay, that you look at it that way, but this is where false breakouts happen. We have a pennant here, and we have it trying to explode out of this range. However, let's just see where we're at right now. We're kind of opening near the base of this, or let's say opening near the base down here. Okay, so we're not truly bullish until we're over the top of, say, 64.60, because what's going to happen is you may say that you're getting an entry down here, which is fine, But realistically, you're buying in an area where you're looking for it to go, and you're looking for continuation past this, which there's no confirmation of that until we see 6460 broken. All right. So the people that you follow on X, you may see them doing stuff like this, but you're not even bullish here. This is where false breakouts happen. Okay. This comes into this gamma wall, it gets sold on, and then we see what they're saying is a retest, which is fine. Okay. But that false breakout's where you guys always lose your money out. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for, if we open up near down this range, we're actually looking for 64.35 to buy for this to try to rise up towards 64.60. And we have a much better entry down here with our gamma support, looking to make this continue up towards 64.60. All right. That's what we're aiming to do. Well, we have to navigate this as data changes through the day, but the opening print still remains, and it's virtually the blueprint for the day. So looking into this, I would be okay, virtually being short, probably up near the 64.55 area, looking to cut outside of this gamma wall. Right? If you get a pop above this, this is where you get your gamma squeeze. This is where the pennant actually starts to break out. But until we start seeing that and seeing some long time frame closes over the top of that range, we're really not interested in this thing buying up at this range here, or even down into this range, however you want to look at it. But this is generally what happens. People see this pennant type of look. They see it starting to break out. They get to this range, and then, hey, sellers are sitting right here, ready to smash this thing back down. Okay. So as we open down in this level, we need to be cognizant of that this range is not, this is not an ideal trade day based on what we're seeing. If those condors are what I'm thinking they are, we're probably going to be in a containment range between, say, this high and virtually maybe make a new low right down in this range here. Okay. If we break outside of this range right here, this is where you get volatility spikes to the downside, and you also get breakouts to the upside. Okay. Now looking at the data here, it looks as if 64.35, but as low as 6,400, you could see how this could escalate if we get below those. That 6405, 6,400 would likely be the downside target there. You need to monitor that the previous high breakout is at 64.27. So if you don't see a bounce, let's say we slip that area on our daily right here, 64.27 lies right under here. So that is a retest of the daily breakout right there, right? So be careful that you don't just see a volatility sell down towards 64.27 and see a recapture right back over the top of this gamma wall. And if you do see that and you start to see it catch some volume above that, that's where you're looking for calls, and that is where you're going to make some good money for it to potentially start this move. Okay. All right. Now, that in a nutshell is my play here. I'm looking for the calls down here. I'm not super interested in taking shorts up here. However, I won't be against it if we really show weakness at 64.50. Excuse me. All right, looking at Tesla. Let's pull the data for it. Yesterday we talked about being bullish, looking for the support at 330 to be bought on and try to make this push towards 345. Well, we got a ton of chop, but it was getting bought up every single time in this range. So if you did take that trade, you made a decent amount of money if you got in right here at 330. Even if you got in the retest down here, you made a lot of money, right? So, which that's virtually where we took one contract right here, right in this range, and then we added on this retest right here, okay? And then we sold, I think, right here, right at the top of this candle here. Didn't wait it out for the grind all day. Now, taking a look at the data, full complex here is call dominated. Again, 350 gamma wall, 300 to the floor. Let's look into this week. 350 has risen. Okay. So it was 345. So 350 is now the upside target. We're starting to see some shorts start to pile in here. Okay. So unlike what we've seen previously yesterday, that we didn't have these nodes start to come down here. We didn't have these shorts here, but they're here now. Okay. And so we need to be monitoring that, as this has the opportunity to push up towards 350 and maybe see some drawback towards, say, 325. All right. So this has expanded now towards 350. Now this is, I talk about this often with my members. So if you are in the Discord listening, then great. But if you're not, and you're listening on X or YouTube or one of the other social media platforms we're uploading this to, then this is not my ideal spot to buy. This is the expected range. And if you're looking to buy calls on this, you're right smack in the middle. It's not an ideal entry. Okay. Now, can you put extra parameters in there? Sure. So based on the data that we're seeing, we want to see support at 335. So virtually they want to use yesterday's high as a area of potential pivot. Okay. So as it stands right now, we're at 335.21. And that is going to be virtually a pivot right here at 335. All right. So I will move this 335. All right, this is at 335. We want to hold 335. If you slip 335, okay, you can start to see some weakness and potentially see this fall towards targets like 330 and 325. And specifically 325 being our demand based on the data today. Okay, so that virtually puts us at 325. Excuse me. Let's look back at this. 332.5. 332.5 starts to show a little bit of weakness. And then virtually our gamma wall, this has risen to 325 as a floor. Okay. Anytime you see the floor rise, then that's great. So for you ICT traders, this is where you're like, oh, fair value gap entry. Yeah. Fair value gap entry right here on our gamma wall. So that is kind of what we're looking at, right? So this is going to be a pivot point. If we hold 335, and especially if we break yesterday's high, you're likely to chase towards that 340 mark. Watch areas of supply like the high that day there at 339.31 to be a short sell. Okay. So as we get into that target, they will look to hammer that right at the top of that daily right there. You also have another daily right here at 340.50. All right. Mount both of these. You're going to have a potential fight on your hands up near, say, this 342 area. Okay. But if you get over this little volume node here, you will see this thing continue to rise up towards 350. Just know that this is very bullish over the top of 335, especially if you get over the top of 340. So feel free to short underneath 332.5 to 330 and potentially down to 325. Look at longs over 335, aiming for, say, the high here. I'll drag this across here and mark this out as resistance. Okay. And this will be what you need to monitor. This area supply right here, this resistance, okay, this high, and this volume node here. You need to watch this act as resistance at that 340 mark. That 340 mark has a pretty decent extension into it. All right, so if you get over the top of this, you're really going to start to see this pick up some speed. All right. aiming for 350. There are some things that are starting to grow above it. If you get to 350, I imagine we'll probably see things like 360 really grow. And but I highly doubt you get over top of 350 if we do turn that bullish today. And if that does turn that bullish today, then we might see us get that gamma squeeze to the upside. Okay. So yesterday we talked about a potential squeeze off of 180. We talked about this being the pivot point, right? If we saw it break below 180 again, we'd really feel like there's some softness in NVIDIA. It held 180 and came out the gates and shot up towards 182.5, and then we're starting to see just people selling on it. I told you, beware, 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 as we're in supply zone here. Every time this is being bought, it's also being sold up here. This is generally done in an institutional level here, where people are reshaping and excuse me, they are reshaping and repositioning their portfolios on an NVIDIA here, and this is going to be an area where will act as some resistance as they move off of NVIDIA, maybe put it money elsewhere. That's what we're seeing most likely here. Because when you look at the data here, NVIDIA is bullish, 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 right? Everything about this screams up. There's nothing here that would indicate that we're looking to fully come back besides the idea that everyone's bullish. Okay. 185 to the upside still remains the same. We do not really see this getting beat, but we are starting to see 190 grow on further extensions. Okay, so maybe that distribution is coming soon. 185 stands as the wall. 180 is the pivot point. 177 is the drop here for us. Okay, so 180 back to being positive gamma support. 177.5 and going to be our negative gamma shelf, and then our wall stands at 175. So the wall has risen. Whoops. 175. Oh man. And here we go. Okay. So what's that look like? Well, basically, it wouldn't surprise me to see us sell off right here towards 180. We get 180, you might see the bounce up towards 185 today if we start to see distribution to the upside. If this turns into another day where the iron condor holds, then I wouldn't be surprised to see us just kind of maybe make that move up towards 185 and just sit there all day. Sit there all day, right? So keep an eye on that, as that has potential to really get crazy with it off of a 180 check. All right, into maybe next week, you look at some of those 190 calls. That's probably not a bad position to try to take to see if this thing wants to move, as we're starting to see the first signs of the extension to 190. All right, we're going to cover UNH today as well. I want to talk about the amount of bullish calls that have come in here. Okay, so with that also becomes choke points, pivot points. 320 has become that as of right now. You're going to see virtually a range. I'm going to build a full range here for us. Let's go back. 320 to 300 is going to be our range. I'll format all this here in a second. 320 to 300. Your bullish position is going to be at 310. So at 310, we're looking for upside. Below 310, we can look for this thing to drop off. Let's go 307.5. We'll go 307. Yeah, 307.5. You can look for this thing to really push below and get towards the bottom of our range. All right, which is going to be 300. And then our gamma shelf at 320 and gamma shelf, or excuse me, gamma wall at 300, which this is not at 300. Okay, so I broke that down real fast, but we're going to go and come in here and shape this up so you can understand it. There you go. Okay, so what this looks like is we're bullish over the top of 310 as long as we hold 310. If we start to slip 310, then watch this thing potentially try to slip 307 and revisit down towards 300. It would not surprise me to see that type of move, as there are longer, when you start to look at full expiration, there's some pretty long or pretty big net deltas here that we might want to roll back and, you know, look towards rotating for some of those market makers in regards to delta and gamma. All right, looking at this, we'll see, but virtually over the top of 310, you could be interested in a 320 call on UNH today. Okay, so we're doing special coverage on this, and we're gonna do this every single day moving forward, talking about one stock that is virtually hot. Okay, so hopefully this is insightful for you guys. If you guys are interested, come take a look at RawStocksLLC.com. We have a limited time promo going on right now. For $7, you get 7 days complete access. If you're not interested in that, then feel free to just subscribe and make sure you like and share our videos though. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to DM me, but make sure you're following and support the channel. So until tomorrow, catch you later.